One of the challenges that companies have, that families have, and that individuals who are in relationship have all the time usually revolves around this one fundamental issue, and that is the way in which you and I communicate with each other. In fact, out of all the experience I've had, I've developed a whole new technology that I'm very passionate about. I call it reality bridging. It's a technology for communication mastery. It allows us to communicate with each other in a way that takes out a lot of the stress and a lot of the pain and a lot of the problems. And I'm starting to do it now in companies and seeing absolutely incredible results. And I've also now begun to use it with individuals and just seen incredible changes. I worked with a couple the other day who were literally at the point of divorce, and it took me about 15 minutes of utilizing this technology to completely turn it around. So it's very simple, it's very basic, but it's also very powerful, because our ability to master our communication style, our communication abilities, really is the ability to master our life. And I think maybe we got to start with some presuppositions that I'm building all this upon. If you've been to any of my other seminars, I usually start most of my seminars talking about how the quality of our life is the quality of our communication. And I want to reinforce that theme here before we begin talking about anything else. In other words, it's not the events of our life that determine how we feel about things or how things turn out, but rather how we communicate to ourselves about the events of our life. It's not what happens, in other words, it's what we do with what happens inside of our head that determines how we feel and how we react. If we want to really master our life, we got to master the way we communicate, number one, with ourselves before we ever master the way we communicate with other people. In other words, I can't communicate to you what my real needs are if I don't know what they are. If I'm just reacting to you, if I'm just responding to you out of anger or upset or frustration, I've got to know what I really want if I'm going to get you to help me to achieve it, and vice versa. I got to understand what you really want if I'm going to meet your needs. And even more importantly, you and I have to realize, beyond meeting each other's needs, that the way we're feeling about anything in our life is based upon the meaning that we associate to that situation. In other words, nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning we give it. I'll give you an example. The other day I read about a gentleman in Hawaii who was out body surfing off of Kauai, the island of Kauai. And what happened? He was attacked by a shark, and the shark literally bit off one of his legs from just above the kneecap down. Unbelievably gross, unbelievably intense. Now, what does that mean to this man's life? Well, it's going to mean whatever he makes up about it. Whatever he decides it means is going to determine how he feels. Now, what would be a logical meaning based on how most of us in life look at things? Well, most people would say the meaning is he lost something. He lost a leg. He's going to be marred for life. He's going to be scarred for life. Not true for this man. There was an interview done with this man a couple days later. And the reason the interview was done was not just to tell his story, but he requested it because he was very concerned that as a result of the attack on him and the loss of his leg by sharks, that all of a sudden people are going out in the waters and seeking them out and trying to kill them off. And he tried to explain to people on both radio and television interviews that really it wasn't that bad. That the reality is that he was responsible. He knew there were sharks in that water. He knew he shouldn't be water surfing there, that they were just doing what they do naturally. And the bottom line is he had learned an incredible lesson. Oh my gosh, can you believe this? I don't think I would respond quite so healthily. But I can tell you one thing, it was amazing. This man created a meaning, and it was an empowering meaning for himself. He actually focused on the shark and what was going to happen to sharks because of this situation rather than himself. At our certification last year, on one day, I brought in 3 people who were incredibly special. A gentleman named Kevin Saunders, one named Mick Davis, and a gentleman named Dax. I brought them all in because they've all been through incredible physical tragedies. One's a paraplegic, one's a quadriplegic, and one's entire body was burned off, all their skin, and was blinded by this experience. And I brought them in because they're some of the most happy, well-adjusted, successful people that I know. They're better off than most people that have all their limbs and all their body intact. They seem to have more joy, more fun, more playfulness. And I brought them in so that everybody else in the room would get one message real clear. You have no problems. You know, if you look at these people and see how happy they are, you know you have no problems. You have no right to feel bad. And the reason they feel good is they have mastered their communication with one person, themselves. They've mastered the meaning they've associated to things. You know, you talk to Kevin Saunders, paraplegic, but that's not how he labels himself. He was in a grain elevator accident. And you know what happened? He lost the use of his legs. But he's become a wheelchair athlete. He won a bronze medal in the Olympics and the wheelchair competitions. He's absolutely one of the most inspirational people you ever meet. And he's going out helping kids to stay off drugs and helping other people that are in wheelchairs to understand that, hey, being in a wheelchair doesn't mean that you don't have the same opportunities. In fact, you can get some places faster in a wheelchair than other people can with their legs. He also has a dream to be a leading man in the movies, and he got himself a part alongside Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July. I mean, this man is a total inspiration because the meaning of his accident was not that he was marred for life, not that he lost opportunity, but that he was offered a new set of challenges. Mick Davis, when he was a young man, got drunk when he was in high school, and one day, being a top athlete in peak condition, he managed to screw up his entire body by taking a leap off a bridge into what he thought was a full area of water that was only 2 feet deep. He broke his neck and became a quadriplegic for life. What happened? He looked for a deeper meaning in his experience, a deeper meaning in life. And to be around him makes you feel incredible. He's learned how to find the adventure in a smile, how to appreciate even the smallest things in life. He's now an artist. He's a poet. He writes poems with a pencil in his lips. And he does drawings. He has incredible character. He's a demonstration of the power of the human spirit. Dax had his entire body burned off, all of his skin, and he was blinded. And you know what? He's become an attorney since then. He's learned how to give his experience a meaning that is empowering instead of disempowering. This is the first lesson of life that you and I have to master. We can't communicate to anybody else until we first learn how to communicate to ourselves in an empowering way.